give $500 million a year to Papua New Guinea in aid. If Kevin Rudd is elected, it will be more. But there is a big problem. Half of Papua New Guinea's budget, $1.7 billion, is being stolen every year. Australian aid is being lost to corruption.
Most of Australia's aid program is effectively wasted.
It gets worse. The stolen money is then brought to Australia to be hidden in our banks and the Queensland property market.
A couple of $100 million each year is the best guess.
Is taking the money for your own personal benefit to buy properties. You know, you have a number of properties in Australia.
No. So where the did I get the money to buy all those properties? From ANZ.
From the ANZ.
We have exclusive access to the man in charge of investigating the missing millions.
They see Australia as the Cayman Islands because they see that that's the safest place where they can bring the stolen money from Papua New Guinea and live a happy life here whilst our people continue to suffer.
And we've tracked down their homes in Australia, used to launder their dirty money.
There are allegations that this place was built on corrupt money.
It's one of the easiest ways to launder money in Australia.
$45 million. Australia's leading anti-corruption experts have a clear message. They claim our banks, our police, our government are turning a blind eye.
This is why corrupt PNG politicians launder money in Australia, because it's easy. Their chances of being caught are almost zero.
So what does all of this mean for us? The country earmarked to be Mr. Rudd's asylum seeker solution is on the brink of becoming a massive refugee problem.
If half of the Papua New Guinea budget is stolen, and it seems like that's the order of magnitude we're talking about, then there's a real risk that Papua New Guinea as a country will simply collapse. There are 7 million people in PNG. If the country collapses, that's really a huge disaster for Australia.
I am not scared. Even if it means to die for what I'm doing, I am prepared because I want to eradicate this evil that is eating away our country.
Sam Coyne heads up Papua New Guinea's anti-corruption task force sweep, arguably the most dangerous job in the Pacific.
Every single day we are always watchful. My family stays in the house 24/7, guarded.
This is the first time Coyne has spoken on camera. Until now, even the guards watching over his home did not know what he did. There are people who would like to see Coyne dead.
Papua New Guinea is a violent place at the best of times, and if you're taking on these powerful corrupt officials, then obviously there's a danger that they will strike back. One of the leading anti-corruption officials in Papua New Guinea in 2009 was actually ambushed and shot by people looking to assassinate him.
Professor Sharman is a renowned expert on money laundering and the Australian arm of Sam Coyne's mission to lift the lid on billions of dollars of dirty money leaving Papua New Guinea to be laundered in Australia.
Corrupt politicians and senior officials are buying houses, are gambling, obviously they need a bank account to do that, and setting up their families here as well.
The rot starts in Papua New Guinea. Coyne's job is to cut it out. So half your budget is being stolen?
Almost half of the budget. That is how big the problem is.
With over $1 billion stolen every year, development in Papua New Guinea has come to a crashing halt. Outside Port Moresby you can drive to Central City. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been siphoned from a project which was meant to be the newly created capital city of PNG. It has never grown beyond 4 homes, a welcome sign and a dead-end road. It's a clear sign that thieves are hijacking Coyne's country. He is determined to catch them. How high up the chain does your investigation go?
We have a number of politicians, prominent business people on our watch list, on our radar.
And the radar is finding them in Australia.
Some 59 people have been charged with corruption offences in Papua New Guinea already, and it's alleged that much of their illegally obtained monies are spent here in Cairns. Why not? They can spend it on a big boat, in our restaurants, or a favourite, the casino down the road. And then there is the Cairns property market. It is awash with dirty money.
There are more than 100 homes in Cairns belonging to Papua New Guineans, a similar number in Brisbane. This $585,000 home in Cairns belongs to William Duma. The Petroleum Minister is named as a person of interest in Task Force Sweep's investigation. The family of former Prime Minister Michael Somare have a number of holdings in the upmarket Trinity Beach. As Prime Minister, Sir Michael was suspended from office for breaching multiple anti-corruption guidelines. They are just some of the 58 names which can be found in files obtained by Today Tonight, identifying properties in Australia owned by persons of interest in Task Force Sweep's corruption investigation. Eramis Watoto has been charged with numerous corruption offences and had his assets frozen in Australia, including his apartment on the Esplanade, one a block back, a cute $500,000 bungalow, this $250,000 investment, and the $540,000 family home.
My God, it's an absolute compound.
Making my way past another $100,000 worth of cars, I found Watoto's sister, Sue.
There are allegations that this place was built on corrupt money.
I have got nothing to say about that, sorry.
Watoto is in PNG. His 457 visa to Australia has been cancelled following his arrest for the misappropriation of almost 5 million Australian dollars. Money he is suspected to have laundered in part through investments in Australia, an allegation Watoto denied when he called me.
You're taking the money for your own personal benefit to buy properties. You know, you have a number of properties in Australia.
No. So where the did I get the money to buy all those properties? From ANZ.
From the ANZ.
Australia's banks have a strong presence in Papua New Guinea. They know the terrain well, and Sam Coyne is brutal in his assessment of their conduct. Is the banking industry in Australia doing business with dirty money?
Of course, James. The writing is on the wall.
Today Tonight has received documents revealing millions of dollars wired from Papua New Guinea to Australia by a man facing tax evasion and corruption charges. In 1 year, Paul Paraka sent $2.5 million to his children, wives and girlfriends. One lives at the Star Casino. In just 2 months in 2012, she was wired $110,000. In August last year, Sam Coyne informed Australian authorities and our banks. But still, Mr Paraka was able to use the NAB to transfer hundreds of thousands of dollars to wives and girlfriends.
There's some clear evidence of suspicious transactions, but they turned a blind eye and accepted those transactions.
In a statement, the NAB claimed to take money laundering seriously. They go on to admit that following an investigation in late 2012, some customers' accounts were closed and some payments originating from PNG were declined.
If in fact the banks turn a blind eye to this conduct and money in fact is the proceeds of crime, then they can be liable for criminal prosecution, criminal conviction, imprisonment for individuals, big and substantial fines and loss of reputation.
Lawyer with Johnson Winter Slattery, Rob Wild specialises in white-collar crime, fraud, anti-corruption and money laundering, and he believes that our banks are running great risks.
Immense, because banks live and die by reputation, because if they do not have a reputation, customers do not bank with them.
Failing to stop money laundering may bite the banks one day. It is already eating at Australian taxes.
If you give $10 million to a hospital and that money comes in aid through the front door, and at the same time $10 million is stolen out of the back door through a corrupt official, then the net benefit of Australian aid is zero.
Back in Papua New Guinea, it's easy to see where hundreds of millions in AusAid is not being spent.
Our people are dying of curable diseases. They live on less than $2 a day.
So if you need water, what do you have to do?
I have to carry my containers and go down to the tap well.
You got to go all the way down
Yes.
there for just every time you need water. Okay.
It's my house where I live.
This is your house up here, or
Yeah.
this?
This is my house, and I used to sleep here.
You sleep there.
I sleep there.
So you hear about AusAid all the time,
Definitely.
but does it ever reach you?
We hear about AusAid money, but we don't get any help. That's the thing.
Right.
We don't know where the money goes to.
I am passionate in what I'm doing because I have compassion for my people.
But Coim's people are being robbed. The loot is being laundered in Australia, and our government knows about it.
Guys, roughly $200 million is stolen every year and sent to Australian banks.
In May this year, an Australian Federal Police officer, Steve Mullins, addressed a high-level workshop between PNG and Australian police. Unaware of a journalist in the room, he revealed that over $200 million of illegally obtained monies are transferred to Australia and laundered through our banks every year. When we approached the Australian Federal Police, they referred us to the Attorney-General. The Attorney-General's office told us they were too busy with the election campaign and referred us back to the AFP, who of course weren't talking. Could it be that, like the money launderers they investigate, our government has something to hide? What evidence do you have to suggest that the Australian federal government doesn't take this seriously?
Not 1 cent of Papua New Guinea corruption funds have been repatriated from Australia to Papua New Guinea, even though the Australian Federal Police estimates that $200 million every year of corruption funds come from Papua New Guinea to Australia.
Prime Minister, a question on Papua New Guinea. The Australian Federal Police have revealed that $220 million of illegally obtained or corruptly obtained monies are entering and being invested in Australian banks every year. Why have none of those monies been repatriated?
I'm unaware of the report, and we'll examine that and provide you with a response in due course. Over there.
To make life better for this guy, this little girl, and this little girl.
In 1.5 weeks, Australia will decide at the election if they want to send another $1 billion to Papua New Guinea as part of Kevin Rudd's Manus Island solution. What would you say the odds are on that money being misappropriated?
Well, as a taxpayer, I'm worried about what might happen to it.
Professor Sharman says few in Australia realise just how serious PNG's corruption problem is for Australia. For every dirty dollar we harbour, PNG is one step closer to ruin. The consequences are huge.
If half of the Papua New Guinea budget is stolen, and it seems like that's the order of magnitude we're talking about, then there's a real risk that Papua New Guinea as a country will simply collapse, and Australia will be stuck with a massive refugee problem that makes the existing one look pretty trivial. If you were looking to escape Papua New Guinea, where do you think you would go? The closest country is Australia. So rather than PNG being a refugee solution, it'd be a massive refugee problem.
If Australia continues to provide safe haven for PNG's proceeds of crime, Sam Coim must stem the flow before it gets here, a seemingly insurmountable and dangerous task.
I am not afraid. I know that corruption is deeply rooted, people are well connected, but somebody has to do it. If we don't do it, there's no future for our country. Where is the future for my children? Where is the future for my children's children? What kind of world or country are we creating? What kind of future are we creating for our children?